Hello, everybody. My name is Michael, and with me I have Pierce.
What up?
And welcome to Peter's Oblivious Opinions, a show where we review things such as movies and other things. But I did not review the script before beginning this episode because we don't review scripts. We only review movies.
Winging
But
it?
anyways, what?
I said winging it.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, we'll get back to our battle brackets. We're on bracket 4. Just a recap after last time, an episode that we haven't put out yet, but we will. What's the last one we put out? Green Inferno?
Last one that came out was the Green Inferno, and Dead Silence will be coming out next.
Okay, so Dead Silence is going to come out. Definitely check that out. Put it on your to-do list.
Absolutely.
If visiting Grandma's on there, she can visit some other day because Dead Silence is coming out.
It's
or you could listen to it with your grandma. Yeah, I think it is.
And honestly,
anyways,
I think your grandma would love it. So show your grandma.
Agree. You know what? She's probably a fan of one of the actors in there because I know I am.
Oh, me too. Who can't be a fan of, Mr.
A youngster?
Yeah, youngster there.
All right.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're going to move on to the first movie in Battle Bracket 4, which is what, Pierce?
Only, the classic itself, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And that'll be the one we're reviewing today, and that's actually facing off against From Dusk Till Dawn. Today we'll be reviewing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what do you think, Mike? Should I give a quick recap of what happens in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
I mean, if it's possible to describe what happened, okay. You can do your best.
I'm going to do my best here. This, as you can tell by that comment, it may be a little confusing, but I'll do my best to give you some context. So essentially, this is a sequel to the first movie, in which we're introduced to this cannibalistic family called the Sawyer family. This sequel comes out almost 10 years afterwards, and it starts off with kind of this radio station and these kids in a car, and they keep prank calling the radio station. While the kids in the car end up getting, murdered brutally on the road by this family of cannibals called the Sawyers. In particular, Leatherface is there, I think, and so is a new character that wasn't in the first one called Chop Top. And so the news, or the radio station, gets involved. They kind of go to this cop that has been tracking these chainsaw murders, and keep seeing that they're being blamed accidents to cover up murders and stuff. And so she ends up going to him with a tape that has the recording of the murder, and it's this is proof, we can go get them. He originally wants nothing to do with her, and then he kind of essentially uses her by playing that on the radio and luring in the chainsaw killers to kill the radio station people, in which you think that they kill LG, which is her friend at the radio station, and then they attack her, but they end up leaving her because Leatherface seems to have feelings for her or something. And so they get in the truck, drive away, and she follows them because this cop, I believe the cop's name's Lefty, he didn't show up. And then she realizes when she gets there and she's running around and is kind of being chased by this car, that the person in the car is Lefty, and he wanted her to lead him to the place that they are, which seems like a really terrible plan in my opinion, but we'll get into that. And they go to this abandoned amusement park. She falls into a hole, is greeted by a whole ton of killing and death and skeletons, and runs into JG, or LG, not JG, LG, and watches him get skinned. But then also he's alive after getting skinned, and he ends up freeing her, and she runs around, and it ends in this whole huge fight scene at the end, where the cop comes in and he imploded the place, and he's fighting people. He stabs Leatherface with a chainsaw, Lefty does, and you actually find out Lefty is the uncle of Sally, who's the survivor of the first one, and her brother, who I forget the name of, but he was in the wheelchair in the first one. And so he chainsaws into Leatherface, and then the cook, which is one of the few returning characters. I kind of forget his name right now, but
Me
he's.
too.
Do you remember, Michael?
No, I don't remember either. I'll look it up. You keep
I think
going.
it's Drayton, but I'm not 100% sure. And so Drayton Sawyer, I think it's that. He ends up getting a grenade out, and he's holding it, and he gets knocked around, ends up dropping the grenade, it blows up, and then we never get to see like 90% of the characters from this movie again, because after that blows up, it just follows Chop Top chasing our main character, the woman who worked at the Stretch, her nickname is. She worked at the radio station. He chases her, and then she ends up finding a chainsaw in Grandma, who's a skeleton, and then Chop Top thinks that she killed Grandma, by grabbing this chainsaw, and then she eventually gets it to start, which is also really questionable, and we'll get into that later. And she ends up slicing, Chop Top a few times, and he falls off of this big, I don't even know what to describe, this big, cliff that they're on. It's like a man-made cliff. And he falls, and he rolls into a hole, and then she dances with the chainsaw at the end, and that's the end. If you're confused, so was I.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I tried to generalize everything because there's a lot of things that don't make sense in this movie, and that's why I think we should start off with plot. What do you think?
I think we should definitely start off with plot. But one quick thing.
Yeah, did you look at
which apparently the guy's name is Cook.
Okay.
It's literally just Cook.
Okay.
But another important thing, apparently there's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. And one of the actors is Viggo Mortensen, who played Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
Wild.
Who's like an amazing actor. So like, what even is that movie? I want to watch that.
I definitely think we have to, and if we do another battle bracket or movie review or whatever we do, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 is in that list.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I'm not sure if my girlfriend would be willing to watch it after how bad the second one was. But
oh, man.
There's hope.
It's an experience, let's put it that way.
But, okay, I guess we can get to the plot.
Okay, all right. I want to hear your opinion first.
So, the plot. This, if you could describe the plot with one word, it would be plot hole.
Yep.
Actually, no, plot holes, plural.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, everything that's like might not be plot, but is just a flaw in this movie, I'm going to throw into plot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that we should do that.
First, I want to start off with something that my girlfriend noticed, which is, you know how first of all, they're driving the truck, and I'm talking about at the beginning, like on the bridge.
Yeah.
And this truck is sitting on the bridge with freaking Leatherface in the back.
Yeah.
Who then drives alongside them. No, he's reversing at the same speed as the other, like the two kids are going forward.
Yeah.
And he's hitting their car with the chainsaw from the back of his pickup truck. The kids never think to apply the brakes, but that's not even my point. My 2 points about this bridge are, it has unlimited length.
True.
Because they're literally driving like full speed on this bridge for like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, how long is this bridge? But then also, you know how it has the things on, like, I forget what they're called, but they're like, they go above the bridge.
Yeah.
And they're like the metal parts, the suspension. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the suspension, but then at the scene of the crash, the next morning, there's no suspension, so it's a different bridge.
Yeah. That's
which
absolutely right.
Like, what? Why didn't they just film it at the same? And it looked like a completely different. Like the first bridge was like in the middle of like a
Nowhere.
dark, middle of nowhere
Looked like it was
forest
over
kind
a
of
lake.
place. Yeah. But then the other one's like in a populated highway
Yeah,
with no. So it
I
was
remember that. That's wild.
so dumb.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch it the first time I saw it, and then she caught it. So
That's so dumb.
it's funny.
So dumb.
So that's the first plot hole.
Okay. Can I bring one up now?
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely, the biggest plot hole for me is just like, how does LG survive, first of all, being hit in the head about 30,000 times with a hammer by Chop Top, and then being skinned and be coherent enough to slice her out of her bonds and then immediately die? Like, how? What?
Yeah, how did he? Okay, I'm totally with you there.
It
Totally.
makes no sense. It takes any sort of, like, I guess they're not super realistic, these movies, but it takes any sort of realism that's in these movies that, like, strikes fear out of it immediately.
Yeah, that's the problem. And like Leatherface literally cuts his face off,
Yeah.
and he's still alive
Like,
afterwards. And the makeup is terrible because it literally looks like his face is
Ketchup?
fine. Yeah, he's got ketchup on his face.
Oh, it's
And then after that, she's like, "I loved you, LG."
yeah,
But then earlier in the movie, he like hits on her,
yeah. And she's
or he
like,
doesn't
"No."
really. Like he just asked her if she wants to hang out. She's like, "Hell no."
Yeah.
So like, make up your mind.
But also bringing up love, you're like, one of the biggest plot holes I found as well is Chop Top just absolutely trusting Leatherface that he killed her, and they only grab one of the bodies. Why would he not go back and look for her? Like, that's double the meat. Like, because they're cannibals.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't even. Yeah, I totally missed that. God, there's so many plot holes.
There's so
I
many
also
plot
love how their recording studio has like a panic door essentially that's like impenetrable.
Yeah.
Got like 3-inch thick like
Metal wall.
steel.
Yeah.
Like it can't even be pierced by a chainsaw.
It's ridiculous. Everything.
Also, oh my god.
Go ahead.
Another thing, like you know how Pop Lefty follows her. Okay, first of all, she was almost murdered, and then she decides to follow them to their lair.
Yeah, who does
Whatever.
that?
And then when she's walking on the driveway, there happens to be a trap right exactly where she stopped.
Where's she standing? And how does that trap open? She doesn't move or anything. Someone would have had to open it, is what I'm guessing.
And then she's holding on, and then he finds a freaking skeleton arm for her to grab onto and pull herself up. Obviously, it's going to break the moment you like put pressure on it. There's nothing holding it together. And there's probably so many other things he could have
Used.
got her to grab onto.
Oh my gosh, this film is a disaster.
I'm pretty sure it's considered a horror comedy.
Yeah, it is. Like, if I was doing some reading on it before we started this, and if I remember reading right, is the director was Toby Hooper, the same guy who did the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and he apparently thought he put a bunch of like dark humor into the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and so when he made this one, he just like put it all into dark humor and tried to make it as humorous as possible, which I really think took away from the charm that is like the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see how the first one, it was like actually kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Like especially that guy who gets in the van at like the start of the movie who like cuts himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, but yeah, this one just it's like, and it wasn't even funny. It was just like kind of cringe.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, it wasn't funny. It was, they were trying to be funny in the way that like an 80s horror movie tries to be funny, which I just do not vibe with very well, I find.
Yeah. But yeah, that's true. And it literally is an 80s horror movie.
Yeah. True.
So it's exactly what you said it is.
But I just like, I don't know. I was just, for someone who, like, I really appreciate the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how it builds so much tension off of its atmosphere instead of, like, relying on blood and guts and, like, and humor to get through the movie. I really enjoy all the tension that it builds all the way to the end, and like obviously culminating in the final chase scene. And I feel like as someone who appreciated that, going into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and expecting the same sort of thing, making it more of that 80s style horror movie with comedy being very heavy within it, dark comedy, really just like turned me off of the movie almost immediately. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like the moment, literally the moment you see the murderers
Yeah.
in their truck on the bridge, from
Yeah.
then on, it's like, this movie is so dumb.
Yep. I agree. I absolutely agree.
Man, you could go through so many plot holes.
Yeah. So many plot holes. And it's like not even just the holes. I just feel like the whole script in general is poorly written because it leaves you off on like almost a cliffhanger with that grenade in there. You're like, are they dead? Are they not? We never find out. Also leaves you off on Stretch's fate because she's just seen dancing with a chainsaw and we don't know if anybody else is dead. It just it leaves on the wrong note even. You know what I mean? Like there's no real conclusion it felt like.
Yeah, there's no closure. It
No.
just ends with her doing her freaking ballerina dance.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like it just ended on the climax. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my god. Remember when like their grandma is still alive or something?
Yeah, she moves her
It,
head, doesn't she?
like what is with that?
I don't know. I don't know how the grandma and even the grandpa for that survive. Like, is it off of the blood of the people they kill? Is that what it's supposed to be?
I have no idea. Yeah, like they're all like a million years old. I don't know how they supposed to survive.
I have no idea. It's messed up. Man, I don't know. Like, I think we could sit here for like 40 minutes and pick apart this plot, but I think we should probably rate it.
Yeah, let's just rate it.
Okay.
Okay.
With that being said, I gave it a 1 out of 5 on plot.
Okay.
I just felt like uh, plot wasn't solid. Like, could have been done a lot better. Could have used the atmosphere more, like I said in the first one, to build tension. I also feel like there was way too many plot holes to make this. Well, like, I enjoy most movies I watch. I don't want to say make it unenjoyable, but just made it more difficult to understand what's going on a lot of the time. Plus, not getting the closure at the end of a horror movie is really hard as well on me. So that's why I gave it a 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm even thinking a 0.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think
I think you'd be more
it
than justified to do that.
it gives it's worthy of a 0.5 because it was a completed movie, but in terms of the actual story,
It's bad.
like the whole story should have depended on this lefty guy, him hunting down these killers,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
and they like barely included him at all.
Yeah, it's true. And it's like you can't have two main protagonists, you know what I mean? Like you can have two main protagonists, but you can't have them in different places for the majority of the movie, you know?
Yeah.
Like it would have been almost cooler if they had focused on one or the other, like if they had focused on Stretch even and just her the whole time and her experience and then he shows up at the end, the detective, like haha, you led me right to them, that sort of thing. That would have been even better
Yeah.
than trying to follow both of them as main protagonists, it felt like.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Like they could have. Yeah, it's because like they don't really have time to develop like either character
Exactly.
because there's two of them. So
Yeah.
it really felt like it was the main character was the I forget her name, the girl who was working at the radio station or whatever, and then Lefty was like a side character.
That's what it felt like to me too. But it felt like they were, even though he was a side character, they were still trying to push him into a main protagonist role.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
It was
Also,
really bizarre.
side note,
Yeah.
way too much screaming.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Way too much.
just every reaction to everything is screaming.
Yeah.
Like, she's sitting around, like, the dinner table with them, just screaming.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was a problem with the first one, too, for me, honestly. That chase scene in the first one,
Yeah.
I get it, that it's suspenseful, but it's literally, like, 5 minutes of nonstop screaming, and it's like, it annoys me so much that I just want the main character to get killed. Which completely defeats the purpose of the entire thing.
True. I do
Anyways.
agree with you. The first two movies, I think they're the only two I've seen for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They both had too much screaming. And a funny note on that is I was watching this kind of like downstairs, and with COVID going on, my dad works from home as well. And so he was working, and he came down at the time I finished the movie, and he came down to me and he's like, what was going on down here? All I heard was screaming. And I'm pretty sure, like, whatever movie you were watching, I could identify the characters, especially one of them, off of the screaming. And I'm like, oh my gosh. That's too much screaming.
That's funny. Was he, like, upstairs?
Yeah.
Just hears the scream. He's like, what are you doing?
Because I had it on, like, a volume level that wouldn't, like, I thought wouldn't distract him, but that screaming comes in so often and so loud that's, like, all you could hear from the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, what the heck are you watching?
My God. You know, I will give the second movie credit, though. I think there's actually less screaming than in the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, I guess we can move on.
Yeah. Not a great start for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
No, when the plot is this bad,
yeah,
it can't be much better.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the movie.
Yes. Okay, so where should we go
next? Yeah.
I guess let's go to actors.
Okay.
Do
you have a specific actor you want to start off with?
Let's start with... Who do we start with?
Before you say, just if you haven't listened to any of our other episodes, we kind of explain how we do our actor ranking. It's just like a scale from S to F, rating what's best, what's worst, and then we give it.
Yeah, it's like a tier list.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just remembered to do that. Do you want to just start with Stretch there?
Yeah, let's start with Stretch. Oh, that's her name.
Yeah, Caroline Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I think she did a pretty good job. I could see the fear in her, and I felt like she made up for a lot of those plot points, like how poorly written the plot was, with showing like almost like a tenacity along with being scared. And with all the weird decisions that her character makes, she managed to make them somewhat reasonable with her acting, I felt like. I felt like it couldn't make up for how bad the plot was.
Yeah, I think you could kind of tell. Like, she seemed like a good actor.
Yeah.
But you could just tell that when there was bad parts, it was because of the writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was a lot of, like, bad writing.
Yeah.
And her dialogue writing.
Even though there was too many of them, were believable as well.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I remember that one scene with LG.
Yeah.
After he's, like, getting skinned or whatever, and she's, like, hiding behind a barrel.
Right.
She, like, genuinely looks scared.
Yeah. You know what? I remember that screen as well. It was, or not that screen, that scene as well.
So, yeah. I agree with you. I think she did as good a job as she could.
Yeah, with the material given. So that leaves me, I'm definitely not going to give her an S because I don't think anybody in this movie can get an S just based off of how bad
Oh,
the
hell
plot
no.
was. Um, I'm tempted to give her somewhere between an A and a B, so I'll probably give her a B plus.
I was thinking the same thing. I'll give her a B plus too.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go to yeah. It's kind of hard to like judge the acting in this movie because there's not like specific points in the movie where you're like this. There's really good acting here.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just feel like the plot's so bad it's hard to judge how well they're acting, how much their acting is the writing, and how much of it is them just not being able to act.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
overall though, like before we continue going this, I was generally impressed with the acting in this movie.
You know, I didn't really think about it, but now that I think about it, that like they do a good job.
Yeah.
The actors,
Yeah,
like that Chop Top guy or whatever.
yeah, let's go into him next. He's played by Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about his acting?
I mean, the character definitely like grossed me out,
Oh yeah. The
which is
hair on the head.
yeah. Oh god, that was nasty.
So
Um,
nasty.
but he did a good job of being a creepy kind of psycho dude.
Yeah. I found he had the perfect voice for it as well.
Yeah, he almost seems like a crazy person in a video game.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Oh, and he looked so gross.
So gross. And he like I don't know, just the cadence in his voice even struck fear within me. Like
Yeah, and like you could tell it's like he'd talk to people, but he like wouldn't make eye contact. It's like you could tell he's in his own world in his head,
the whole time. Yeah.
but he's like still interacting with people.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I think he was acted so well. I think Bill Moseley really brought kind of that like it's almost like the hitchhiker in the first one, right? He brought kind of like a creepy
Yeah,
vibe to the whole thing. Like this guy he's a loose cannon, he could let go at any time, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. He did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what else more there really is to say about Chop Top. I think I'm ready to rate him.
He's like the same character the whole movie essentially.
Yeah, the whole time. He actually gets almost less prominent as the movie goes on.
Yeah. Though, you know, I really didn't find I guess it wasn't meant to be scary. Really more just like uncomfortable to watch,
Yeah,
which I guess was the point.
I
But
guess so. And I think his character was supposed to be a lot of the comic relief as well, which was an interesting play.
I guess it makes sense because there's no way Leatherface can be the comic relief.
True.
So I guess it kind of only leaves him.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. As for him, I think I would probably give him a B plus as well.
Okay. I'm going to give him an A.
Okay, that's fair.
'Cause I think he did a good job with a really weird kind of role.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think that like I didn't think personally he did better than Caroline Williams. I think they're around the same level, played off each other pretty well.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. I think it's yeah, I guess it's just easier to see or it's like easier to tell how good an actor is if they're doing something like totally obviously bizarre
Yeah, that's true.
versus just acting like a regular person.
Acting scared. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that you're right. Like they could be the same
True.
level. I really don't know because I haven't seen either of them in anything else
Neither
that I
have
know.
I. Actually, no, I have seen Bill Moseley in something else, and I think it's a movie that we should cover sometime in the future called House of a Thousand Corpses. It's Rob Zombie movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He plays a very similar character. Um, all right. So who do you want to move on to next? I say some between Dennis Hopper, who plays Lefty, or Jim Cito, who's the cook.
Let's just do Dennis Hopper,
Okay.
who he did a. Actually, you know what? I don't think he was that good of an actor in this movie.
I don't think so either. I think he was really bad. Like Dennis Hopper is
And
a
I'm
famous
pretty sure
name.
he's supposed to be like a famous actor.
Yeah, he's definitely
Yeah.
a famous name. And I just I was not impressed at all. I was not convinced by his character. I didn't see the pain in him from losing, his nephew and his niece, being attacked. I didn't, I just wasn't convinced by him. He just seemed kind of
Yeah.
uninvolved, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was not convinced by him at all either. But to be like, I am pretty sure it's because the writing for his character was just so bad.
I honestly, yeah, I agree. And I also remember reading somewhere that he hated this film, and I can tell why.
You could almost tell that he hates it while he's in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not good. It's not good acting. I don't even know. I don't even have examples of how bad it is. I just, in general, it just wasn't convincing. It's like,
I think like even just every scene with him, like, well, here's I guess his only two acting moments are like when he's talking to that girl like earlier on in the movie,
yeah,
and he's like, she like comes to him to help him, and he's just like totally unconvincing with his no. It's like he doesn't even have a reason for it.
yeah,
He's just like, it's like, yeah, no, I don't want your help, even though he's like, I need help, like the scene before. But it's hard to tell because the writing's just so bad. But I think if you think of when he's attacking the people and he's like screaming with his chainsaws,
yeah, yeah.
it's just not convincing
It's
at all.
not at all.
And why are you giving away and alerting them to your presence?
I have no idea. And like that brings up one of the weirdest things to me in this movie is that scene where he buys the chainsaw and he just starts going ham on a log and the store guy is just like laughing. What is that scene?
Yeah, and why is he hitting it like it's an axe? It's a chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's never used a chainsaw before.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And why does he getting a dual wield chainsaw? Like he gets he gets three chainsaws, two smaller ones so he can do two at once.
Or one bigger one, yeah.
Yeah, like what?
So weird. And it's like, I don't know, that definitely jumps into plot again, but his acting was, again, not convincing in any of these scenes. Like, I could never read him, tell what was going on. Like, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, it just seems like a weird movie for him to even be in.
Yeah, I agree.
And I have a feeling that he did not enjoy it.
Me neither. Me neither. Now, that being said, there's one part of his thing that kind of salvaged it for me, is I did get the vague, like, I'm your savior hero vibes. You know what I mean?
Did you?
I did. I got that pretty vaguely from his, like, kind of half stoicness.
I'm not sure I saw that, but
That is completely fair. I could have been imagining things.
or I could be oblivious. Is that going to incorporate into your rating? What is your rating?
I think I'm giving him Can I give a C minus? I don't want to give him a D.
Yes, you can give him a C minus. I am just gonna give him an F
Okay.
because, like, I mean, he's probably doesn't deserve an F, but just this character, I think you're right. Like, now that you say he didn't want to be in it, it almost seems like you can tell from his acting that he doesn't want to be in the movie.
True.
It's like he thinks the movie is stupid, and you can see it through his acting.
It's true. He just doesn't seem involved.
But I do think it's because the writing is terrible. I don't think it's necessarily because his acting is bad.
No, definitely not. He's a good actor, Dennis Hopper.
Oh yeah, it's like really famous.
Yeah.
So clearly he knows what he's doing. He was in a bunch of good movies too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was so scared to give him a D.
This was like his Nicolas Cage type movie where he needs some extra spending money during the summer and decided to do this. But then, like, on the first day, he just regrets it.
Immediately regrets it. Yeah.
Yeah, but then he signed the contract, so he has to stay.
He needs the money.
Yes.
Solid.
Okay, so we're moving on to who?
Do you want to do Jim Sedow next, the cook?
Sure, we can do him, and then we can go on to whatever's next.
Yeah. Because I don't think anybody else really required that much acting.
Yeah.
Like, even Leatherface just run around, make some weird noises, stick your tongue out the mask.
Yeah. Do some ballerina dances with your
Exactly.
chains.
Exactly. Or in this case, if you're one of his victims, you'll end up doing ballerina dances.
Yes. That was so weird.
So weird. So weird. Okay, so yeah, Jim Sedow, the cook. Honestly, I think he plays the character well. He plays it the same kind of as he does the first time. Kind of a bit more pompous this time, I felt like.
Yeah. It's kind of a bit more out there
Yeah.
this time.
But he gives off those crazy vibes.
Yeah. He definitely does. He's like, I don't even know how to explain it. But he seems like,
I don't know how to explain it either, but I think a lot of it has to do with the tone and cadence of his voice.
yeah, he seems like kind of it's like he controls his emotions like a child. To me.
You know what? You're right. You're right. In that RV scene when he gets the bad phone call, that's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah.
And is he like their uncle or their brother or something? I don't even know.
Now, if I remember right in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, extended universe, he's the brother of Leatherface, Chop Top, and the Hitchhiker. And Chop Top and the Hitchhiker are twins. And that's about as much as I know. Except I think Grandpa and Grandma are, of course, Grandpa and Grandma. So I don't know what parents are, but...
Okay, so Chop Top and the Hitchhiker are twins.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And when I was watching the movie, I just thought Chop Top was the guy from the first movie who somehow survived and need a metal plate in his head.
Right.
Because he got run over by a car. That's what I thought it was.
That's what I thought too the first time I watched it, until I did a little bit of reading here right before we started this.
Huh.
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, anyways, back to Cook or whatever.
Okay.
I think he did do a pretty good job. He was consistent with how his character was in the first one.
Yeah.
He seemed a bit childish.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, none of them are exactly
But I think
normal.
he does a good job of being like that public face of the cannibal family. You know what I mean? He's like, when you encounter him and not know that he's part of this cannibal family, he just kind of seems like he's kind of out there, but he seems like kind of nice still, you know what I mean? Until you find out he's part of the cannibal family. And of course, if you watched 1 before going into 2, you knew that beforehand, but
Yeah,
So
he's good at blending in.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a good point. That probably speaks to his acting because he kind of acts differently in his home versus out in public, which a normal person would, but you can actually see that difference
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
acting.
I thought that was pretty good. Um,
Yeah. No, that is a good point.
yeah. With that being said, I don't know if I have too many knocks on his acting. He might be maybe overacted a little bit at some points, but that's about it.
Maybe. Do you have any examples?
Not, I mean, I guess when he gets that phone call and he has that childlike emotion, he maybe takes it a little too over the top, but that's kind of what you want from a crazy character like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It did seem a bit odd. And it's like such sudden mood swings. He's like all happy in the car, then all of a sudden he's like yelling at them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard
Hmm.
to tell if that's just part of the character or if that's bad acting or bad script.
Yeah. Oh, it could be any number of things in this movie. But
Um, well, I'm
okay.
ready to give him. I'm gonna put him. I don't think he did as good as Caroline Williams and Bill Moseley, so I gave him a B.
I'll give him a B too. That sounds fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So how would you rate the acting as a whole?
I'm thinking about it, and like it was probably one of the few shining spots in the movie. It wasn't great still, so I think I'm actually gonna give it a 3.2 out of 5.
Fair enough. I'm going to give it a 3. I thought it was one of the best parts of the movie as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say best with a very low bar.
Yeah. Me too. But I honestly, I think if you get Dennis Hopper, out of there or get him more involved in the movie, um, this could easily have been a 4.5 for acting.
Yeah, if he like was really committed to his character.
Yeah, exactly.
um, okay, so where should we move on to next?
Uh, do you want to
Maybe
go ahead?
you want to do the soundtrack?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The one thing I know absolutely nothing about for this movie.
Me neither. All I remember is the opening
Yeah,
and immediately knowing it's an 80s movie.
yeah. The 80s rock and 80s music for sure.
Yeah.
I also found that the soundtrack throughout the film had a lot of synth in it, which you'd expect from an 80s movie, but I also felt like that kind of cheesed up a lot of that dark humor kind of thing. It gave it almost that humorous like upbeat vibes that I didn't vibe too well with in the movie.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't fit with a horror movie at all.
No, not at all.
It almost reminded me of the Commando soundtrack at some
Yes.
parts. Just the beginning part that I actually remember. Except it didn't have the steel drums, unfortunately. But
Hey, steel drums make everything better.
but yeah, other than that,
Yeah. Like it
I
didn't
can't
stick
even,
out
what can
to
I even
me.
say about the soundtrack? It's yeah, me neither. Not memorable
No.
at all.
Definitely
Probably
would have been
generic
scarier
80s.
with a better soundtrack.
Yes. Honestly, if they wanted to make this like an actual horror movie, then yeah, they'd have to change the soundtrack.
Absolutely. Like I'm actually upset with the soundtrack because of, now that I think about it, how much it took away from this being a horror movie. You change the soundtrack, this is a million times more horror movie than it is.
Yeah, with like upbeat freaking
Synth.
80s music.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
But
it's go ahead.
yeah, you said he was going for a dark comedy though.
Yeah, and I guess
So
it
I
fits.
guess it kind of fits.
Yeah. I guess it fits a dark comedy. Like I'm definitely not. I'm definitely gonna fail the soundtrack because I felt like it hindered the movie more than it helped it. But since it kind of achieved what it was going for, I might not go super low with my fail.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a 2.
2? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking a 2, but I don't want to give the same, so I'm going to give it a 2.1.
Okay. I knew you were going to go 2, so I decided to say 2 first. So I can claim the 2.
Stealing my ratings.
Yep.
It's okay. We're normally pretty close to the same page on most things anyway.
Yeah, we really are.
Yeah.
Except for general experience on Anaconda.
True. According to me, it's one of the best movies you'll ever see.
Yes, and for me, it's Commando with a 4.8. That's amazing. Okay, I guess we can keep going.
Con Air was ripped off.
Yeah, Con Air defeated by Doom. Con Air should have gone up against Texas Chainsaw Massacre too.
Absolutely. It deserved better. I'm crying.
Yes. You know what the sad part is? I think I enjoyed this movie more the second time I watched it.
You know what's sad is I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it too.
And what does that say about it? Because it's a terrible movie.
Terrible. I think what it was is we understood the plot a little better the second time we watched it, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It is definitely is hard to understand. Oh, even a lot of the dialogue, like they would talk, and it would not make sense.
Yeah.
It's like the words wouldn't match the situation.
It's like eyes glazed over, just staring at the screen.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on?
How I feel. It's interesting. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's like
One of a kind, I hope.
yeah, I agree. And you know what? We'll get to general experience later. I'm not going to say anything right now.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that last.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do costume design next?
Sure.
All right.
This costume design was very strange.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
What was Chop Top wearing the entire movie?
True. He was dressed kind of like a flower child, right?
Yeah, he looked like a clown almost.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Which,
personally that was trying to bide into that humoristic side of the movie, which I still feel doesn't vibe too well. Like every criticism I've had of this movie has been it trying to guide towards that humoristic side. Um, and I think that's part of it is being like this, oh, flower child, I'm all about music and peace and stuff, yet he's a cannibal. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true. I guess that kind of speaks to his craziness.
I guess, yeah. Again, I agree with you, though. It's an interesting choice. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's like it doesn't fit with the environment that he lives in at all.
No, I agree. Not at all. Not at
What
all.
was, actually, I will say though, I quite liked Dennis Hopper's outfit.
He looks snazzy, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
like he's got his,
looked like he had himself put together.
yeah, like the cowboy hat with that suit.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get a look at his boots, but I imagine he had some nice cowboy boots. Hopefully.
I hope so. If he didn't, it's an automatic 0 on me for costume design.
Cowboy hat without cowboy boots? Yeah, that's a pretty big no-no.
Yeah, I do want to docket points in costume design in this movie because of, like we mentioned earlier, that really bad, because we don't know where to put special effects. We've been kind of, I don't know, what have we been putting it in? Kind of like more practical ones, costume design, and the less practical ones, like into cinematography.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So I do want to mention that, what is his name? LG with his face torn off there, how bad that makeup was.
Yeah, it was clearly his face.
Yeah. Let's just like, I don't blame an 80s movie for not knowing how to show someone with their face torn off, skinned, but also like didn't look good in the movie.
Yeah, it looks like something that I would do.
Yeah, me too.
Which, if you're supposed to be like professionals,
Yeah, should
you'd probably do a better job.
should absolutely do a better job. But other than that, Chop Top being goofy, Dennis Hopper's outfit was really nice. I felt everything else was generally generic. Leatherface was still scary as always. I like to, you know, I'd like to bring up the fact that even though it's kind of like retaking from the original, his outfit on its own is just so scary with that skinned face. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, I think you cut out.
Oh, I cut out. Okay. Well, I was talking about Leatherface's outfit and how scary it is with like the skinned face, and even though it's kind of like retaking from the original, it's still scary. And I think it's like good that they made the choice not to move away from that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Except Leatherface was wearing a suit. Did you notice that?
At what point? Like the whole movie?
I don't know if it was the whole movie, but I remember. I'm pretty sure.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna look it
he
up.
was absolutely. I do remember now. I was just thinking about the face there.
Yeah, like why is he wearing a suit?
I have no idea.
I mean, I guess none of them are dressed particularly sensibly.
It's weird. That's a weird choice for Leatherface. I
Yeah,
agree.
it did just seem like a weird choice.
Yeah. I yeah, I don't know if that speaks to him wanting to dress up to do this stuff, but it's a weird choice unexplained.
Yeah, it was. But I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back on it, it looks like what's his name? Cook was dressed like kind of formally as well.
Huh.
So maybe they're all kind of dressed kind of nice.
Except Flower Child Chop Top.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. The cover for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a spoof of The Breakfast Club, and
Really?
it's just the five family members. Yeah, just search for Texas Chainsaw Massacre Google Images,
Okay.
and it's just uh like
Oh my gosh,
some
that's
you put it
ridiculous.
side by side with Breakfast Club, and they're just in the same
The
poses.
fist pump from
Yeah,
from Leatherface.
the guy lying across the bottom.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm done.
This movie seemed kind of like it felt like if you were walking through a cheesy haunted house.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It didn't feel real, which is I think what made the first one so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was clearly just all fake. It made no sense.
Made no sense.
Anyways, where were we at? We were at costume design.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to rate costume design if you are.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I gave costume design a 2.5 out of 5. I felt like wasn't bad enough to fail, but there was questionable choices that made it kind of completely just passing middle of the pack.
All right. You know what? I'm going to give it a 3
Fair. Yeah.
because actually, like, the costumes were definitely weird, but I really enjoyed Dennis Hopper's cowboy hat and
That's fun.
suit.
Yeah.
He looked like he meant business. He kind of reminded me of, I don't know why, but Hank from Breaking Bad in this movie.
I could see it, yeah.
But I think if the actor of Hank played this, he would have done an amazing job.
A billion times better because I feel like he would have been actually like I don't want to speak to what Dennis Hopper was thinking while he's doing the movie. Maybe he was giving his all. It was just like, a tough time. Maybe the script directed for him. But I definitely think the guy who plays Hank in Breaking Bad would have done much better in this role, if not just for look or just like it being such a similar character to Hank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did seem kind of similar somehow.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, clearly Dennis Hopper's a good actor.
Yeah.
I don't think his heart was in this movie.
I don't think so either, but I really don't want to speak for him.
I actually haven't seen. Well, I don't know if I've seen other movies. I know of movies he's in,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I've seen any.
What
Anyways,
is his big famous one? Easy Rider? Is that it?
he was in Apocalypse Now and Speed.
Okay.
Those are the two big ones that I know.
Yeah, I like Speed. Speed's a good one. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was
He plays the
good.
bad guy in Speed, right?
Yeah, he plays the
He
bad
does a
guy.
really good job of that.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay.
anyways, let's move on. I guess we have to go to cinematography next.
For sure. Let's do cinematography. Okay. If I'm being honest, I found this movie really difficult to figure out what was going on, in large part because of the shot choices.
Oh yeah, can you give me some examples?
Like, I don't know. I guess not necessarily know what's going on. I just felt like the saturation and coloring of the movie was poor, and the shot choices of like really close up, kind of weird angle shots made it difficult. Like when he's skinning JG, I felt like that. Like I understood what was going on, but I felt like it wasn't conducive to the feelings they were trying to portray with the angle. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It seemed like a weird. They probably didn't want to pay for the special effects.
True, true. That's
So
that's
just
fair.
like show it from far away.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
Um,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, I felt like a lot of the stuff in that kind of cavey kind of area could have, I guess, been shot better just to understand what's going on. Like even the fight scene, I don't know if that was partially just because I was maybe getting distracted a little bit or whatever. But I just felt like I didn't quite understand both times I watched it what was completely going on during that fight scene. And I think half of that has to do with the shot choice of what they're showing and when they're showing it. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even really remember it that much. I'm not sure I paid attention to cinematography at all in this movie.
Yeah, I
If
didn't
I'm
pay a
being
whole ton of
completely
attention either. I do think that last shot of her doing as questionable of a choice in plot as it is of her doing the chainsaw ballet, I thought that was a pretty beautiful shot still. Zooming
Yeah, I
out.
guess I wonder where they took that from because it didn't look like there's anywhere to stand and take
No,
that. But
absolutely not. But I really appreciated that zoom out scene and the sun coming up behind her, kind of like it's a brand new day. I don't know.
yeah,
Horror's over.
I I thought the beginning part with the two kids driving.
Yeah,
It's interesting how they kind of showed like the guy with the chainsaw from their perspective,
true. I thought that was
like
cool
from
too.
underneath.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was a pretty good shot, I think.
That is a pretty cool shot for sure, because then that kind of gives that fear of this is what it would be like if I was in that position.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of puts you in their shoes.
For sure, it's a
But
good
then
one.
I thought the shot from behind where it shows like the top of his head getting cut off was
Yeah,
kind of cheese,
absolutely cheese.
and the
I
effects were cheese.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were going for gore, I think there, right? Which I don't know, like gore's scary, but you have to have fear to come along with that gore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it can be like comical too
Yeah,
if it's approached wrong.
exactly. Which is maybe what they were going for there.
Probably what they were going for,
Yeah,
considering this movie.
absolutely.
I'm trying to
Um,
think of some other shots.
Me too. I don't know if I have any in particular. Um,
Actually, I really didn't have a problem with the cinematography in this movie.
okay.
There's nothing too amazing. No shot that I'm like, this really told the story.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, like,
Yeah, I guess another one of
I
the
don't know
frustrating
how
ones.
you would tell the story.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't know. I just didn't think that like the choice in coloring and shots was right. Like even when she's running from Dennis Hopper's car for like a really weird long period of time, um, I just felt like what they were showing and the angles they were showing was getting me confused at where she was and where she was going. You know what I mean? That too. I don't know.
You cut out again. What was the last thing you said?
I said that like the shots where she's running from Dennis Hopper's car there, I just felt like the choice of where the angles in the shots were made it really confusing at where she was running, where she was going, how close the car was to her, that sort of thing, you know? I don't know.
That's possible.
Yeah. I was just confused. Maybe I'm just really easily confused.
Oh, that's a good point. And also, I remember when she like falls through that tunnel, like
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if it's cinematography, but I guess it kind of is. But like the way that they actually, it's probably more editing, but the way that they edited it,
Yeah.
like clearly it was showing her falling down the same hole from different angles
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to one really long one.
I noticed that too.
And same with that bridge I mentioned at the start, where it's like an infinite length, the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I guess yeah, we can put that into editing, which maybe in round 2 of the battle bracket, editing will be a category. Um,
Could be.
but I'm counting that in cinematography for right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna count it too. And I'm gonna count the unlimited length bridge in cinematography. Because if you think about it, it's really how the shots are telling the story.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
So
fair. Um,
so that makes sense.
yeah. I think we should count those for sure. If you're using yeah, for that because it's how the shots tell the story and that's yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. I think I'm ready to rate it.
All right. I'll let you go first this time.
I'm gonna give it a 2.8.
Okay. Okay.
Because I thought it was about middle of the road, but yeah, some of those choices were a bit odd.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, and I agree that it was about middle of the road, but I felt with my confusion and some of the weird choices, I had to take away points more than give it over half, so I gave it 2.3 out of 5.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
I must be in a very critical mood today.
I am in an absolutely critical mood with this movie. This movie put me in a critical mood.
Me too. Like, you go into such high hopes knowing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, and you're just disappointed.
Yeah, this is a very disappointing movie. And
Super
literally,
disappointing.
actually, I'll get to it in general experience. But now we can move on to Donnie.
The as we uh, as we saw from Dead Silence, the most important category of all.
It is. It's been proven multiple times that the Donnie category makes the difference.
It does. It honestly does.
Yes.
And as far as I can tell in this movie, I'm not seeing many Donnie connections.
Honestly, I'm giving it a 0 for Donnie.
Yeah, I think I'm giving it a 0 too. I do not see any connections to Donnie. The closest I can get is a guy named Dan.
But you know what? I'm not even like on another movie, we might give him a .02 or
Yeah.
something for that. But I'm not even going to give this movie the benefit of that
It,
extra 20.2.
I agree with you just because of how bad it was.
Yeah, they don't deserve. We don't need to taint Donnie's name by associating it with this movie.
It would be a career ruiner.
That being said, if Donnie Wahlberg had played any role in this movie,
Any role.
even Stretch,
Yep.
it would have been infinitely better.
Infinitely
You know
better.
what? What role could you see him in this movie?
Well, the obvious choice is Lefty, the detective, because he plays a detective in like 90% of movies.
That's true. He'd actually probably do an amazing job.
He would absolutely do an amazing job. But what I personally want to see him as is I want to see him as Chop Top.
I don't know why, but I feel like he's got the look for it.
I think he does too. Like, hear me out. Okay, he has the look. He, has a tendency of playing characters that like go over the edge really often. So I don't think it would be that far of a reach for him to play this kind of like neurotic character that just like loses it sometimes. And I just really think he could get into that character.
Yeah, he could. He would pull it off.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. What about you?
I could also see him as LG.
Yeah?
But I think his problem is he's way too attractive to be LG's character.
You're telling me LG wasn't attractive?
Well, can someone be as attractive as Donnie Wahlberg?
That's true. Nobody.
I think he's like John Cena is to WWE as Donnie Wahlberg would be to this movie. Like he was just a star.
Just out of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I would also like to see John Cena in this movie.
John Cena in this movie would be terrific as well. I don't even know what character he could play, but John Cena's Leatherface.
Can you imagine? That would actually be horrifying.
Horrifying.
If someone as muscular as John Cena was chasing you with a chainsaw.
Might as well give up already.
I would have loved him in a cameo role as the guy who sells the chainsaws. He just randomly owns this chainsaw
and the
shop.
Maniacal laughing. That'd be so funny.
That would be amazing.
I'm in for it. I'm absolutely in for it. Or John Cena as Grandpa Sawyer.
With the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can barely.
Or imagine if he was Grandma Sawyer and that was like the big reveal at the end. Him sitting in this chair.
It's John Cena. Oh my gosh.
I would love to see a shot-for-shot remake of this movie.
Me too. I know we call for this a lot, but shot-for-shot remake this movie with Donnie Wahlberg as Chop Top, John Cena as Grandma Sawyer, and let's just throw in like someone totally.
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi, there we go. Steve Buscemi as Vanita Stretch Brock.
I think Steve Buscemi would be perfect for the role of Cook. To be honest, I think he would nail that.
Absolutely, he would. He would.
But I would see it
stretch. I think I'm looking at the list right now. I think Steve Buscemi does any of these characters justice. Except Leatherface, maybe.
Yeah, he does have the build for Leatherface.
No. But, like, yeah. Grandpa Sawyer, Steve Buscemi, could you imagine that? He's like, ah! And he's, like, dropping the hammer.
Yeah. John Cena. Wait, who's Donnie Wahlberg again?
I said Chop Top, but I'm down to change it.
Chop Top. I would love to see that. That would be a challenge for him, but I think he would pull it off.
I think he could do. Actually, let's have him play Chop Top, Lefty, and LG.
Like Austin Powers kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly like an Austin
Powers. I would love that.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah. Wait, are any of them even in the same scenes at the same time?
I'm trying to think, and LG and Chop Top are in the same scene when Chop Top is bashing his head in with a hammer.
True, but you could definitely pull that off with the cinematography there.
Yeah, or you could just have like a fake body there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Man, that would be an amazing thing to see.
I would pay good money to see that.
I would see that in theaters.
Me too. I would see that in multiple theaters.
Yeah, I would go back. I would order it in 4K Steelbook pre-order.
Me too, and I don't even own a 4K TV.
I would buy a 4K TV. I would custom order an 8K.
8K TV.
Okay.
I would rent out an IMAX.
An iMac 3D. So you can see John Cena as an old lady and
Yeah.
up close.
Actually, the remake should just be John Cena and John Cena, Steve Buscemi, and Donnie Wahlberg. The three of them splitting all the characters amongst each other.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Yeah. It'd be amazing. Amazing, I tell you.
Steve Buscemi could be the kid with the funny glasses at the start.
Yeah. Hey! I don't know why that's my Steve Buscemi voice. Hey! Steve Buscemi
Okay.
and Donnie Wahlberg. Donnie Wahlberg playing like the cleaned up guy that's driving.
Oh yeah, he would be all cool,
Yeah,
driving with one hand.
exactly. All right. I think you were about to say we got a little sidetracked there, hey.
It was worthwhile. That sidetrack was better than the entire movie.
Honestly, yes. I had more fun going on that sidetrack rant with you than I did watching this movie.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did you give Donnie a rating yet?
Yeah, I gave it a 0.
Okay, good.
I don't know
That's
if I
what it
said
deserves.
it, but I wrote it.
I think I did.
Okay.
Okay, general experience.
General
The
experience.
last frontier.
All right. What I have to say about general experience is that a lot of times you get movies that are really, really bad and you find a way to enjoy them. You know what I mean? Kind of like I did
Yeah,
with Anaconda. Really, really bad movie. I enjoyed it. This movie does not redeem itself in the general experience category. I was bored for half the movie and they're supposed to be horrifying. And I just felt off the whole time watching the movie. I just didn't have a good experience with the movie. It's not like I might watch it again. It's one I've watched twice already, and I don't know. I don't even know if I really have the want to watch it again.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
This was the first movie that I can honestly say I did not like.
Yeah, me too. Like all the other ones we've watched, I can even no matter how bad the plot is, how bad the soundtrack is, I can be like, I enjoyed it. Like it was bad, but I enjoyed it. This one, it was bad, and it was bad and bad on the enjoyment scale.
Yeah, it was just all kinds of bad. And at the end, I'm like, I can't believe I decided to watch this instead of sleep.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
It's a good way of putting it. And I think like part of that leans itself to the kind of incomplete ending we get in the movie. But like I wasn't even invested leading up to that ending with how bad this movie was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those movies where you're just waiting for it to end,
Yeah.
which is not at all what you want.
Not at all. And I know a lot of people have this as like their cult classic favorite movies. They're going to be pretty upset with us for panning it so heavily. But, you know, you and I watch a lot of bad movies that have redeeming qualities, and this is not one of them. Like, trust me.
Yeah, not even at all. Like this easily is the worst movie that we've seen in all the battle brackets.
Yeah.
Like Dead Silence, which will come out soon. I mean, before this one comes out, so
Yeah.
whatever. But Dead Silence, as bad as that movie is,
Yeah.
like it was still entertaining somehow.
Yeah. I agree.
And that, oh my god, Dead Silence is our highest rated movie,
Yeah.
which I totally forgot about. Anyways, but yeah, this movie just like I was waiting for it to end. And if anyone's like a cult fan of this movie, I want to know why.
Yeah, me too. Please comment and tell us what you enjoy about this movie, because it's just like maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way or something, but
Yeah, maybe we're not. Maybe we're missing the point here.
yeah.
Maybe we're approaching it with too high expectations. All these are possible. But I honestly want to know why someone would think this, because I'm pretty sure its Rotten Tomatoes rating isn't even that bad.
I'm pretty sure it's not that bad either, which is shocking for how much I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's see. What are its ratings?
It's a 5.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
47% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.5 out of 5 on Slant Magazine. I don't know what that is.
Me neither. Man, what did you say? 46% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah. No, 47%.
47? That is really good for a horror movie.
And they're savage on that site.
Yeah. Like, that is actually really good for a horror movie. Like, there's some good horror movies that have horrible Rotten Tomatoes ratings, and there's like, and normally if like you're above 50%, maybe even 40%, you're doing really good as a horror movie on Rotten Tomatoes. At least that's what I've found.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
I just didn't see it with this movie. It's just
no.
the plot is one big plot hole. Like,
yeah, like there's so many plot holes. The story doesn't make sense.
I guess the acting kind of redeems it.
Yeah, the acting is definitely the high point in this movie.
Yeah.
But what was I looking up here?
I really don't think they should have gone the comedy route with this movie.
No, I don't think so. Apparently you're right. Apparently the cook guy's actual name is Drayton Sawyer, but for some reason on IMDb it just said his name was Cook.
Okay. Well,
That
must have been stuck in my brain from when I was attempting to enjoy this movie.
Yeah, quite an attempt it took, and I did not succeed.
Yeah, me neither. I wanted it to be over. Like, I forced myself to get through the second half of this movie.
Yeah.
For this podcast.
Yeah, me too. If it weren't for this podcast, there's no way. Yeah. Like, I might have honestly just stopped it.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. And I found myself thinking the whole time, just like, I definitely do not want to be watching this a second time. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
The first time was enough. Yeah.
First time was definitely enough.
More than enough.
Oh.
I think I'm ready to give it my rating.
Sure. What are you going to give it?
Like, I don't want to give it a 0 because there's got to be something enjoyable about it with how many people find this a cult classic. But my personal experience makes me give it a 1 out of 5.
Fair. I'm going to give it a 0.8.
That's also fair.
It was just so, like... I mean, because I'm also thinking, like, there's got to be a... Like, if this rating system goes from 0 to 5...
Yeah.
And if this movie doesn't earn a 0, what does?
That's true.
But it really... I mean, I know there's worse movies out there, which is why
it's out there too.
Yeah, 0. But it's pretty bad.
It's bad. I do not recommend watching it. Actually, I do recommend watching it just to have a baseline for a bad movie.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
exactly? Bad? Yeah. Yeah, baseline. Basically a what not to do instruction manual. How to approach a horror movie in the wrong way.
Yeah. This movie made me question the movies we choose to do any reviews of and makes me want to make better choices in the future.
Yes. Which is good because the next one is actually a great one.
I know. I'm pumped for the next one.
From Dusk Till Dawn. That one's going to be good. And that one's going to absolutely obliterate Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
Absolutely.
There's absolutely no chance.
No chance. And not gonna lie,
And-
like Michael, you and I, we've all seen the movies that we picked to be in this battle bracket once before, and then we kind of go through it a second time with more of a critical eye before we do the podcast, and which you might have picked up by now in our other episodes. And even just off the first viewing of From Dusk Till Dawn without a critical eye, it's leaps and bounds better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, exactly. Like, general experience itself will probably carry that movie over this. You could probably give it a 0 in 3 categories, and the rest would carry it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
But anyways, I guess I'll say it's interesting. Both of us, on a average across all the categories, both of us average a 1.7 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or a
Same page all
1.73.
the time. I don't know how.
Yeah. We didn't give the same ratings for any of the categories,
Yeah,
but ended up with the same average rating.
that's insane.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Actually, we both gave 0 for Donnie, but
It's Donnie.
it's Donnie. Yeah.
All right.
Well,
1.7 average. I think that's got to be the worst one so far, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
The next lowest is Anaconda, almost a full point above this one.
But that movie's the most enjoyable movie of all time.
According to you, yeah, with the 4.7 general experience. I can't believe you gave it more than Con Air, which was your pick to win and the one you talk about all the time.
I was in a good mood that day.
That was pretty, but I gave Commando a 4.8.
Which is deserved. Like, I'm not even going to bug you about that. Commando's a good movie.
The plot.
For general experience. Yeah. All right. What are we ending our podcast on today, Mike? What's the word?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't even know. You come up with one.
I come up with one.
Yes.
Man, I don't even know if there's like a quotable line for this. Let me look at the quotes on IMDb. Like,
What's
I
a
know.
quote from Leatherface? Ah!
Is there even quotes on here? There it is. No secret, it's the meat. Don't skimp on the meat. I've got a real good eye for prime meat. Runs in the family.
Let's just say prime meat.
Oh, okay. How about,
Unless you have another.
or we could do lick my plate, you dog. Never mind. We're not saying that. We're not saying
Oh, that's the perfect one.
lick my plate.
You dogged it?
It's a different word.
Lick my plate.
Oh, how about remember when he misspells sex?
What? Wait, what?
The cook.
When is that?
When he finds out that Leatherface has a crush on Stretch, he goes SCEX, sex.
SECX?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how we have to end it here.
SCEX. Okay.
SC. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. SCEX.
SCEX.